Hello everyone, Kenty Tiger here with Bengali Engineering and Play. We are back in Space Engineers, kind of continuing on this subset of Survival Series 2, and continuing on with the build. Let me get oriented the other way. Continuing on with our build of the multitask fighter, turning into a rather tough and shielded hombre here. So here's what I discovered. Stupid tigers who like to stack a whole bunch of little stuff, and I just took out a row and put in another big shield. So I'm not sure how much this thing has in shields, but it's quite a bit now. So continuing on with everything, as you can see here. So I got going on the sides, and I'm going to continue on with the sides. So let me do that, because I got totally sidetracked. So we continue the black down the side here. So let me go ahead and shift colors. So in this case, I'm not going to put, well, I say that, but let me do some experimenting here. So my thoughts are, we have this, and then so I'm trying to visualize in my mind what, just take that one off for right now. Okay, that's the base of that one. Alright, so question is, do I want them this way or this way? Yeah, I think I'm good with that. Alright, so this particular piece is black. The corner is black. That's black there. Oops. Alright, and then just like we did on the top, we're doing down here. So, alright, so there. Go. I guess it doesn't really matter what. Oops. What colors are there? Alright. Trying to decide whether this should be black or a little bit wide, but I guess it can't be helped. Alright, so not ideal, but it works. So the bottom ended up being almost entirely flat. Alright, new concept. Don't need that anymore. Alright. My problem here is that I am mixing half blocks and full blocks and corners and everything else. So what if we stick with one size of block? course, now that this piece is black, I can change this to orange, really. So that stripe goes all the way up. Alright, so okay, and this should still be one block from... Yes, it is. So one block from being on the edge there. Okay, back to Tiger Stripey Black. And then we need... Alright, a little bit of deviation here, mostly because I can get away with it. Gets a little bit thin. So we'll go ahead and change this corner piece back to black. Alright, and then of course the other question mark is do I just put shields down? I am somewhat inclined to do so just because there's probably no purpose in not doing these. There's a whole lot of shielding. We'll do the count here in a minute. All right. Whole lot of shields. Okay, just do a little bit of tiger striping. I think I'm gonna undo that one. That one looks a little bit off. Not sure how that one ended up not striped. how that one would make more sense. Alright. Show on HUD. Add. Okay, that didn't work out so well. Wow. 231,850, almost 232,000. So that's actually a pretty good shield count for a small ship. So definitely got some pretty serious serious stuff there. All right. I think I turned all of the... Put all the thrusters midships. Alright, so we're going to delete that one and delete that one. So now we just have hydrogen thrusters forward and aft. Alright. That's a whole lot of shield generators. Just takes a while to calculate that. There we go. All right, so 3 and 4 should be well. Let us just look. So 3 and 5 are port side. So one of the tricks, if you turn things off, so when you select things in the HUD, it's or in the control panel here, it's what's showing. So if you have your groups, they're obviously showing, and everything in the groups are selected by virtue of the group being selected. But if you have items that are hidden that are not in groups, they will not be selected. So that's one of the, I don't know if that was intended or not, but surprise, surprise, that's a thing. So unhide, select all, and then transfer to you, transfer to your partner, whatever, it doesn't matter. Just transfer, make sure you get everything transferred, and then you'll be all right. So hidden again. All right, so 3 is aft porta 1. And then finally we can create the landing gear group and turn these guys off. Now, auto lock is one of these, it's good and it's bad. If you're, this particular ship is intended to go, it's a hunter. So it is intended to go out, blast the snot out of everything that it can, and then salvage. So that's the idea. Not sure what else to say. So auto lock is a great feature when you are attacking something and you want to you're wanting to get up to something, attach onto it, and then be able to work with it. If not, slow it down, grab onto it, haul it into wherever you're wanting to go. So auto lock is a good thing. When you're trying to land and you're a little bit off kilter, then the first landing gear that can lock will lock and you're stuck right there. You might only be one of your landing gear. So it's kind of one of those 6 of one, half dozen the other. When I'm using auto lock, I put on the HUD auto lock on off, as well as shift lock. So those are the 2 things I put in when I'm using auto lock. Normally I don't use auto lock. I've found it to be a little bit problematic that when you're coming in and landing, you settle all the way onto the ground and it, shifts you around by virtue of getting settled onto all of the landing gear with a little bit of downward thrust, and then all of your landing gear are ready to lock, and then you lock, and it's done. Whereas the auto lock, the first one that comes into contact, it locks, done. And you could have, let's say in this case, there's 6 landing gear, one of them is locked, right? So not exactly, and again, space engineers are space engineers, so distribution of weight, not really a big deal. That's really to say distribution of mass, because weight is a function of gravity, but you get my idea. Distribution of mass, so I've got one landing gear that's holding everything on, or I have 6 landing gear holding everything on. So it's kind of one of those. Yeah. All right. So we have more batteries. So let's go ahead and get these into the battery group. Off and off. All right, we do not have, we have forward cameras, connector. This is actually the ventral connector. Forgot about that one. So we have a couple containers, and I don't know what happened to them. Containers. Here we go. Containers. So So let's go ahead and finally rename this. So this is elsewhere medium aft, or maybe we could say medium aft. So we have this, we have those two which are out there, so we'll go ahead and put those into containers, toolbar off and terminal off. We want to leave those on the inventory because obviously they're containers, they have inventory. So what all do we have left? We have cameras, which we're not done working with. We have the two connectors, which is really all the connectors we're ever going to have. So we could tanks. So gas generator I do want to deal with. The tank inventory. Gas generator, we can leave that one on. So I'm going to create a group called Systems Miscellaneous, which is pretty common. I do this all the time, just junk. It's a junk folder, basically. So we want to leave the toolbars. There's some of these that actually have an inventory, like the gas generator, the cockpits, the connectors, but we want to turn them off on the terminal. So I'm leaving them on the toolbar because some of those things are still on the toolbar. Actually, the cockpits we can turn off on the toolbar. Definitely don't need those. The connectors, yes. Alright, so let's go up here, miscellaneous, and off on the terminal. So we should have very few things now. We have cameras, which we're not done with cameras. This is our antenna, and now I'm to the point where I can actually put in this. So let me actually computers and displays, let me go ahead and turn that back on. BRS edit. In this case, surprised that work. I've got a stray comma there. Alright, so 2, 3. So I want to put one forward and I want to put one underneath. So there's 2 of these already. 3 will be forward, 4 will be aft and underneath. Okay. Panels 3 and 4 is not found, which is correct. Yeah, group. So the build and repair group 1 is there. All 5 of them are in it. Let me go through and just make sure. So these are actually turned off right now, and that was very purposeful because they can do really strange things. But now that I have all 5, so they're turned off on the terminal, they're turned off on the toolbar, and the HUD is off. It obviously is using the conveyor system. We will help others. We will build new. We want to run in fly mode. Walk mode means I'm only going to deal with things that are directly attached to the same grid that the build and repair system is attached to. So this is only on grid. Fly mode is we can actually leave and go to other grids, neighboring grids. Anything that is within the span, the distance, which is 75 meters for these guys. I use a specialized 113.2. The reason I do 113.2 is it's the minus 200 from the 313.2, which is the most hideous pink color, hot pink color you could ever possibly want, which is the grind color, 313.2, 100, 100. Okay, in this case, we want to grind enemy blocks. We want to grind unowned blocks, not owned blocks. Do not, I hate to say do not, but use this very judiciously. Neutral blocks, for example, if they're owned by nobody, they are a neutral. So when you first build anything, it's going to grind it down because it's a neutral block, unowned, blah. So it's going to catch it one way or the other. These are our new features. These are awesome. So janitor grind and to disable. So basically it grinds it only far enough to disable something, which is actually really kind of cool. And then this is grind down to hack. So either way, pretty cool stuff. Nearest first, farthest first, just depends on how you want to do it. So push ore and ingots, this is on collecting. Push items, I'm not sure what the difference between items and components. Probably things like grinders and hand tools and bottles and stuff. So push everything. In other words, go to the nearest go to the nearest container and put it in there. Okay, 25 meters. Sorry, this is a small ship. So it is 25 meters. So you have to be within 25 meters to grind everything. So let me do the testing here. Projector is a great idea for when you're wanting to have internal repair capability. It's great stuff. So projector, in fact, let me write some stuff down. Cameras and projector. Obviously, the thing about the projector is you have to have your ship finished, and this is not finished yet. So cameras, projector. This is never going to do any mining, so there would be no need to have a small ship, refinery, or anything like that. I can't think of any reason to have that. And there's no assembler, so wouldn't do you any good to have ingots and ore and all that sort of thing anyway. So not really within the tasks of this ship. Like I said, this ship is a hunter. It's designed to disable things, grab them, and bring them back, and possibly take them apart or take pieces apart while it's there. So. Okay, so these are all configured as they are. So cameras are a good thing. So one of the things that we want to do is put on cameras. So let me go ahead and go 8. I've already got camera here, so I've got forward cameras. Okay, one of these is dedicated to the turn my HUD off for the landing gear here. Landing gear HUD off. Oh, and while I'm writing down toolbar. All right, so cameras. So the question really comes in, where do you put the camera? There's a part of me that says, you know, put the camera similar to your viewpoint, which means, you know, staple it on the side over here somewhere. So, you know, up here would be a great place for it. The other thing is the outer extremes, which means nothing is going to be in the way. So it's really kind of judgment call as to where you want the camera. I tend to put them out here, but obviously they're not as safe out here as they would be somewhere else. So the upside to being up here somewhere is their center line, so they're reasonably safe. I can't really think of any arguments. Obviously, if you're banging onto things, then oops, you broke your camera. Although with the shields intact, then, you know, you're doing pretty good. So half of me wants to put it here just because. So let's go ahead and put it forward here, which is going to be the port and starboard view. The next one is the up view, so the dorsal view. There's another thing that got destroyed in the process of everything, is the turret. Okay, when I put cameras down, I've said all this before, but what I imagine is that I'm sitting in the cockpit and I look up. Okay, so if you think about, you're looking up, your chin is facing forward, the top of your head is facing aft. So I want my camera to be swiveled around the same way, so you don't have to turn it around in your brain. You know which way is up, you know which way is where. So in this case, the bottom of the camera is pointing towards the front, the aft of the camera is pointing backwards. Now, it's really doesn't matter where things are. My inclination is actually to put, you know, cameras in strange places like here. So I mean, I guess the cameras are already right around here, so why not? The only downside to that is, you know, if the forward half of your ship is blown off, then you know, might end up a little bit problematic. All right. I want to see. I have. Cameras. Small ship docking camera. Don't need any more jump drives. Alright, so I like this small ship docking camera, so I'm going to put this right there. I think it looks good. So this is not only the docking camera, but a downward facing camera. So I can use it for downward facing. Or I can use it for other things. So docking camera, which is perfectly aligned on the container, or the connector, which is a great thing. And the other side is, do I want a downward facing camera that's just downward facing, or do I use that one as it is? Do I need another downward facing camera, in other words? Maybe not. So I have question is, would one be helpful in landing on something? Maybe so. So then the question mark is, where do I put another camera that's specifically for landing, for using this thing? And maybe, you know, like here would be good. So which is close to the forward landing gear. So I think we will do that. We'll call that one our down camera, which then aids us in landing with this thing here. Okay, so the only thing we're missing now is an aft camera, and then the trick there is just figuring out where to put it. I can't see anything. Underneath. So some of these, let me go ahead and select this. I was hoping I'd maybe find a place, and the answer is no. So this is not entirely convenient, but light armor block, and then the camera goes on here, so aft. Not perfect, but it works. Okay, so let's start naming our cameras. We just have to remember the order we put them on because they're numbered. So in this case, armored camera. Well, let's start with small ship docking camera. Okay, so this one is called camera ventral connector. So that is a downward view, but you know, want to reasonably accurately name all of these things. So this was our camera port view. The camera number 4 went on at the same time because we were in mirror mode, and this is our starboard view. Camera 5 was the upper camera, so this is our dorsal view camera. Camera 6 was our ventral view, which were also ventral view forward. Well, I don't want to say forward because that would mislead. So ventral view, but it's at the forward landing gear. Say forward gear. Maybe forward land gear. And finally, camera 7 is my aft view. So there's all our cameras, everything they are. If I go out and come back in, we see we actually have a few more of them. There's my connector. So that's now in the list. So cameras, and we don't really need to do anything else, just call them cameras. I suppose transfer owner to me, yes, save. We do want them on the toolbar because we want to be able to put them on the HUD, and then terminal. Alright, so once again, select, it stayed at me, so we know it's at me. Come back in. Alright, so we have a couple panels to put in, which tells us everything that's going on. So one of those panels would be in the back here. So for this panel, the question is, do I want a small one or do I want a big one? I think a small one. And we will go here and highlight the name, and then we go down here to text panel number 9, and we'll do that, and this is number 3. And then we have one more forward here. And this one is Text panel number 4. So what this is really all about is it's really telling me what the BRS system is doing. So at this point right now they're turned off, but this just gives me this good information about what's going on with this system, and you know, what it's stealing, what it's not stealing. So all of these different things. So get those two here. So escape and then back in, and we should be able to now see all 4 of these panels. So this belongs to the computers and display. So now that the computers and display is saved, we're turning it off on the toolbar and off on the terminal, and then all of those should have vanished, which they did. So remote control is RC Sabertooth. Quite a few things going on there. Okay. Alright, so we need to put our Gatling turret back on here. It got inadvertently deleted because the deletion mechanism is absurdly stupid. Alright, so this is facing forward, which is exactly what I wanted it to be doing. There we go. I guess my only port is underneath. So we have the Gatling turret. That's, we're going to rename. 600 meters is fine. We're going to turn off. This is owned by me. We want it to target missiles. That's the whole purpose. And we want it to turn off neutrals. All right. So the Gatling turret here in this case is on. The Gatling guns are the 4 that are, you know, upward mounted on the wings. Trying to think of anything else. Given the sheer number of reactors, one of my inklings was to put Izzy on here that would then manage the materials in the reactors and possibly the weapons. But we'll save all that for the next stream because, surprise, surprise, I'm over time again. So this is Kenty Tiger signing off. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time.